Are you still involved in any way doing something?
Yeah, well, I just closed the show a couple weeks ago.
That might, yeah.
For Peter Pan on her 70th birthday, her mother played Peter Pan when she was a teenager at the Davenport Children's Theater or something like that. And so she wrote this play as a gift to her mother.
Oh, Davenport. What? Where was that?
In the Davenport Island.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was there, 40 miles away. I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
But,
Sarah's she's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And she's a super clever writer. She did this beautiful, red letters for that.
I haven't.
Do yourself the whole poem. We should have it in here.
yeah.
Because it's extraordinarily beautiful.
I'll talk to you about that.
And spiritual. All the relationship of a student. Actually, with
When you haven't been
who
on
had
that.
pediatric cancer and stayed with us. And she teaches at Yale. And he's one of her students. And they began a sort of epistles and email relationship. Finally said, let's turn this into a book. And Milkweed published it. And does my stuff too.
Yeah,
It's a killer book from a super big play. It's, I haven't seen the play, but I'm eager. I'm going to tell everybody about it, including Eric.
Steve.
My neighbor was Paul Steve
Any of the teachers, it's available.
in Minneapolis.
The,
Doctor.
oh, yeah, was he a professor at Augsburg or something? Or?
You know, it's a good question. He probably was, but he was an MD who started. He passed away. He was quite a bit older. I knew him at 75 or 80. Wonderful, absolutely top. I think it was really sad because one of the things we started as a center for runaway youth, right in my neighborhood. I lived in Lincoln. And he pioneered that whole thing. So he had some, he was an MD, I don't quite know. But he was your cousin, obviously.
So just
Yeah.
come up.
But I have a brother named Paul Steen.
Oh, you do?
Oh, it's
I think the guy I knew who was, he went to Trinity Lutheran, which meets at Augsburg, and he was there, and I thought he was on the faculty at Augsburg, perhaps. He was just a doctor. I don't know.
That, I don't know.
Whatever.
But
What's Steve, is it German?
Norwegian.
Norwegian? Well, let's go with this one.
Should have guessed.
Well, I'm sure it's German. Oh, it's Dutch. You know,
Steve.
Jan Steen, the painter.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how long have you been here? You're sneaked under my radar. Bryce is
Well, a while too. You know, I've seen it before, but I just haven't. When that's
7 years. We moved here 8 years ago and spent a year kind of shopping around.
Where did you move from? Where were you prior?
Well, here's the deal. Back in 2000, or 1999, 2000, the colleges of Brainerd, Central Lakes College, hired me to come in and play Scrooge in their Christmas carol.
Oh.
And there was a mom who picked up her 11-year-old girl after rehearsals every night. I met her, and she's at choir rehearsal now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I spent 13 years in Brainerd. Yeah, directing at the Pequot Lakes Community Theater.
Oh, wonderful.
John Cranny.
I hear her.
Yeah, his wife Catherine.
Right.
Yeah.
Is she still hospitalized? Or she?
Well, she's at Jones Harris.
That's where I big call herself.
She's at Jones Harris.
Oh,
She cares. Oh, everybody see her.
When we moved here in 75, it was this place called Jones Harris. Shuttered. I've been in there now. Looks pretty good to me.
You like the coffee, I know that.
Nice coffee, she's a coffee shop. There's a little square there with some Adirondack chairs. You can sit there and look up the stars. And it's right on Cedar Lake, which I jumped into.
Yeah.
So that could be my future.
Yeah. One of these days, we're going to do that at the, we should be doing like a transport me directly from the lake over to the facility. see this in the week or two.
Yeah, right, yeah.
And then,
connection, because
but,
when
no,
I,
just was,
Oh.
huh? So I got, when this is over, I have to depart quickly because we have, I got climate action is having a bunch of, and I'm meeting them at 11:15. At my place. So I'm, because I wanted to get out of here, so I need to. Yeah.
Basically, it's
A
the
friend of mine sings, you know, a group called Caritas, the singing group. And they're having their event at my, my friend was a photographer who took a cover photo of my book.
Yeah.
And we played, we're tennis pals, but he's in there. And they're having their annual thing.
Oh, cool.
And I owe them plenty, they put the
teacher.
headshot of the cover.
You do all that.
So,
You better go.
You better show up,
so that's it.
like it or not.
I know Clinton actually raised money for them in the past.
Oh,
So I want you to tell me, seriously, we'll have a discussion about
really
what your sense of it is, because
systemic.
he knows I've been involved in every climate
Yeah,
conversation part we had.
But it kind of breaks it down.
And that one
Coming in this
was my last, actually,
and
horse riders position seems to be a beneficiary. But they just changed executive directors.
for
I
one.
don't quite know how that,
So
Yeah.
so
that's
I'll
where it
find out.
starts.
Oh, interesting.
But with no awareness of self-reflection.
Well, a good-looking beard coming in.
Choosing your position. Of life. Right?
Good man. Good show up, Brandon. It's been a while. Welcome, sir.
Vice President, I think you agree with the thing. For 100 times, Jim Lennon.
Kim.
Yes, I hear aside from mine.
You guys sit in the same area.
Yeah. Good to see you.
Nice to see you.
Second.
Well,
Yeah, I'm newly married.
I think
Oh, we're expecting March.
Man, you're doing well. Well, I'm excited for you.
Hey neighbor, how you doing?
Hey, neighbor.
Good to see you. All right. So, Mac racist Texas.
Yeah. I sent,
What you said? Oh,
and then she answered you.
Oh, okay.
It was three,
okay. Awesome.
We do it, we kind of get rolling
you
about
told me.
5 after us. I told
Orange was
people are just kind of wondering.
Yeah.
He's in seminary.
Teacher. Jim, nice to meet you.
And then he does.
so that's what we,
Yeah, we have to wear matching shirts. Yeah. All right. Oh, nice. And I like you. I like how you create
She says, well, that's me. For my group.
oh, okay.
So he'll do that.
So, yeah.
Sending money to creating a position for some. But that's a good idea. I go for service.
Yes, but it's already
It's
till,
just,
so.
Yeah.
Trump wants to open up businesses as well. That's what he wants to do. That's why he's, yeah.
Hey, hi.
Okay, sorry. Ruin the day, ruin the day. Kill the moment.
It's a little post.
well, let's see, a minor collection that should.
Yeah, but the one he's got.
Well, yes, and he has one for you right now. The butterfly one is his.
All right.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, it's a butterfly.
Yeah,
Ah,
so this one was a bit more.
I couldn't see.
We get double duty because we support butterflies.
That's perfect.
And we've had,
Yeah,
a lot of our joint venture has spoken here. And I'm a big supporter of a lot of our joint venture, so I get double duty because he's an old pal. So
I
he's
see.
got a really good program.
Oh, great.
Old, heavy on the old.
It's all relative. So.
Poke myself in the eye with it.
Okay, I'll get this started. Hi, everybody. Welcome. Hopefully, I have a few more people coming, but I'm Bryce Hamilton on the Forum Committee. And I just want to say that given the disheartening news that we're confronted with every single day, our minds and hearts long for something positive, something inspirational. We're in the right place. We're going to get it today, and I'm looking forward to it for all of you folks here and the many that we have online, and we'll be looking at this later in the week on our recording. But I'm ready to get started, and to introduce the bearer of good news, I'm going to call in Jim Lindfeste. Jim, come forth.
Good morning, everybody. As Stephen Colbert says, in here and out there, and everywhere around, because many of you are out there. So after leaving the newspaper in '98, I was fortunate to get a writing residency in Red Wing. And one of the things at the Anderson Center, and one of the things they required, the first in the country, is social service. And by a bit of astounding good luck, I was assigned to the Goodhue County Jail. And I taught, and I was inspired by that. I would tell the inmates, I don't have the key for that door in the stone wall, but I have the key for this door. Well, lo and behold, but that was just, I did that 3 times in my 3 different residencies there, and I was gone. My friend Dennis Kelly, separately, took that idea institutional, and it's just quite remarkable. We all know that the people caught in our prison system are normal people, and they have incredible inner lives, incredible things to deal with. And art's the way to unlock that, but it's difficult to come up with a system to work with them. Dennis has done that, and I've known him for maybe 40 years. It seems like, who knows what the numbers are now. And I've always been impressed. He's a world-class marketer. And when he comes up with an idea, he follows through, and it becomes a major operation. I'm eager for you to see the book that he's made about his program, and to have you hear what this program is, how it works, and how effective it is. So I'm thrilled to have Dennis Kelly here to talk about his program of writing in the jails.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Bryce, for arranging this meeting, and thank you for attending, as you say, here, out there, and everywhere. And I'm just hearing you chatter prior to the speaking here. Really sort of impressed with the feeling community that you all have. Intellectual curiosity for showing up on a day where it's 5 above out here. So, and also the history of Plymouth here. I did a little research and background, and the foundation of being at social justice, 1909 or whenever this building was put together. I know there was a predecessor to that. So, and to be able to carry on that tradition is marvelous. Just so heartwarming. I also want to introduce a fellow teacher in our program for Right to Hope, Doran Shepek here, and so he'll be over at the end of the talk here. You can ask him to engage and share some of the experience. So I'm here to talk about Right to Hope. And Right to Hope is a nonprofit organization, and what we do is that we facilitate mindful writing. Now, the word mindful can mean a lot of things, and it's standalone. It can mean presence. In the writing context, it could also be therapeutic, or some people will call it expressive, but mostly it's reflective. And so that's what we carry out. And our tagline, when you look at our logo, with a butterfly. Butterfly, obviously, orange. If you're looking at a monarch, that becomes somewhat representative of our participants who are in jail, and most of them wearing orange uniforms, including orange shoes, which are Crocs. Not to give a branding toss out there, but our tagline is a safe place to tell your story. And these individuals in jail have a story. We often think about people in jails and other marginalized people in the aggregate. So criminals, lock them up, that's all we see. We see them as taglines. Homeless people, we see them as people with cardboard signs. But when you break it down, like we all do, we all have a story, and we all have a background. So, Right to Hope is we have no political affiliations, we're non-sectarian, and we do not provide any opinions related to sentencing. We're simply meeting people where they're at the moment. There we go. So, Right to Hope's mission is to provide jailed men and women with mindful, therapeutic writing opportunities that improve mental health and inspire hope. Most of us have not met or engaged someone who's been held in jail. These unique individuals are the unseen, the marginalized people in our society, and oftentimes overlooked. Jails are sometimes confused with prisons, but there's a distinction. Someone in jail is referred to as a detainee. People in jail have not been convicted. Mostly they're waiting for a court date. Some, however, have had their court date, and they may be waiting for further disposition. That could be out to a treatment center, or that could be off to prison. One of the things about jails, unlike prisons, which are often segmented by type of severity of crime, everything comes through the jail. So you may have people in there who have been charged with murder. You may have people with simple vehicular charges, frauds, felonies, drugs, weapons. All these people are put into the same melting pot, if you will. And the reason people are in jail generally comes down to three categories. One is you can't afford the bail. Secondly, you may have a criminal history that has piled up. Or thirdly, the egregiousness of your crime has kept you there based on some type of a court order. Right to Hope currently conducts mindful writing workshops at 6 Minnesota counties that include Hennepin and Ramsey. And Minnesota has 82 jails in 87 counties serving 7,000 detainees. Jails are mental health deserts. Jail detainees face numerous challenges. One, they're coming off the street. Many of them have been in circles of drugs or violence, but they have backgrounds in trauma, and some of them have physical disabilities. But the thing about jails is that there's no programming. And that's partly due to the transient environment of the jail. Someone may be there for a week, some people might be there for 6 months, some people a year. So it's difficult to get any traction with the program. We do have their Bible studies, and there are some people who come from AA that help, which is very, very positive. And our Right to Hope program is designed for this type of environment, where we can bring in a reflective practice where you don't need any precursors and you don't need to build on it. It's just very immediate. The alarming in-custody stats show that suicide rates among jail detainees are 3 times higher than those in the prison population, and over half of jail suicides occurred within the first week of incarceration. This is where we look to reach these detainees at that moment of high stress. And it's at this vulnerable stage that we allow them to explore their thoughts, emotions, and experiences through written word in a supportive environment. This is an opportunity to turn someone's experience from being in a cage to being in a nest, from resistance to reflection, from fighting to writing, from reacting to responding. The detainees are reminded of others who have spent their time in jail wisely. Common examples are the historic letters of someone like Nelson Mandela or Martin Luther King. But on a more up-to-date basis, we can refer to musicians like Mil Meek, Dr. Dre. I'm sure they're all on your playlist. Or novelists such as William Burroughs. So there's an opportunity to use this time wisely. Sometimes refer to it, people pay a lot of money for these retreats where you go on, where you have time to yourself, And so, the teachers that engage these detainees in the classroom are dedicated teachers are from a variety of backgrounds, many retired, some active. They include law professionals, educators, social workers, writers, artists, health providers, business people. To date, our mindful writing teachers have engaged over 5,000 detainees, composing over 15,000 pieces of writing. One of the things that we often talk about is, amongst our teachers, is why would you volunteer to go into this type of environment? And amongst the discussions is obviously how to make a difference. And also, reflecting upon a teacher's standpoint is how do you want to spend your time? But why would someone want to volunteer in jails and prisons? It's interesting that this particular population, these marginalized people in jails and prisons, they don't have the luxury of pretending. There's nothing to hide. They're serious about skillful living and awakening to what's important. They're reachable. And if any of you have ever been in a teaching environment, reachability is key. You get a room full of rich kids or whatever, I've got everything, you're not, there's no breakthrough here. What's the story? These detainees write, they listen, and they participate, and there is no ambiguity or safety nets. They're hemorrhaging and wounded from residing in a place of systemic poverty, crime, and addiction. There's a little sidebar here. There's a book out there, and you can go to YouTube. It's called The Lottery of Birth. The lottery of birth has not favored these people. The author behind this is Raul Martinez. You may want to look him up. And we could do a whole talk on that. But when you're in this jail environment, there's no accident. You know, we can talk about self-reliance and all of that, but you start looking at the background, you say, yeah, this is the natural course of designation that your behavior would have gotten to you based on your background. But even so, the writing is as real and as raw as it gets. To facilitate these workshops and be a trusted witness as a teacher into the background and humanity, hope, and inherent in each story is an amazing privilege. It's an amazing privilege that they open up with that trust. In the words of Margaret Mead, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Our background is founded in research in terms of providing this Right to Hope service. We were fortunate to have a professor, Professor James Pennybaker, from the University of Austin in Texas, a psychology professor who has had a 30-year career in studying writing as a therapeutic opportunity. And it's been highly focused on, over this 30-year period, of dealing with people who have a history of depression, trauma, addiction, post-traumatic stress syndromes. And the benefit to come from this is stress and anxiety relief. Obviously, observation of thinking behavior patterns, clarity of thought, and comprehension, and the freedom to move forward unencumbered by our past experience. And that past experience aspect is critical, because we all have experience, and hopefully we can learn from that experience, but we are not our past experience. Every breath is a new breath, every step is a new breath, we can move forward. And so being able to unlock that previous conditioning is very much a part of what we try to engage the detainees with. We put together a book called Mindful Writing from the County Jail, and it's a collection of over 100 micro short stories of men and women who are being held in jails. I'd like to read an excerpt from Writing from the County Jail, Mindful Writing from the County Jail, related to my early day experiences conducting in-jail workshops, hopefully to provide you some insight into this environment. From the book, page 21. Shortly after I began facilitating in-jail writing sessions, something felt off, an inadequacy that I couldn't quite put my finger on. Maybe it was the disquieting environment, the probing metal detectors, stark concrete walls, clanging of gray steel doors, pervasive cameras, and a headache that ensued from the absence of windows and the flickering brightness of overhead lights. Or perhaps it was the weight of the mission I carried. The mindful writing sessions are held in a classroom on the perimeter of the detainees' living quarters, called quads. Each quad has 20 electronically controlled cells, 2 per cell. A detention officer's video control station is in the center of the quad. Attending a mindful writing session is voluntary. Most participants show up the first time to break the boredom of listless routine and confinement. At first class, the detainees appear indistinguishable, depersonalized, clad in loose-fitting orange pajamas and orange Crocs. I make it a point to quickly learn their names. Newbies newbies are mixed in with repeaters who hate the routine. They say the food and the opportunity to have a yard is much better in prison. After a brief introduction, I explain the mindful writing concept. And then it starts out with a prompt. The prompt is a topic that launches a 5-minute writing exercise. The prompt is a topic that either the detainees come up with or the teachers do it. It may be something like home or family, I'm jail, broken. Almost anything works to start to trigger a writing session. But everyone writes using the same prompt. Participants are allowed to write anything that comes to mind related to the prompt. They're encouraged to simply keep the pencil moving. Just let the writing do the writing. Be honest, be true to yourself. To begin, the writers are asked to take a deep breath, be present, and write from a place where it's safe to tell your story. At the end of 5 minutes, everyone is invited to read their writing aloud. During an in-jail session, shortly after I began teaching, a detainee asked me, more matter of fact than threatening, so tell me, what do you got for me now? Something to help me on the street? You want me to pull a poem out of my pocket against a 9mm Glock gun? The other detainees laughed and waited for my reaction. There it was, the question that had been rolling around in my head from the start. I had a list of post-incarceration resources available that included education, vocational opportunities, and addiction programs. But the question was, what can you offer me now? Not a week from now, not a month, or when I get out, but from where I'm standing in this shithole now. The detainees stared at me blankly and waited for my answer. They didn't want some social theory. They wanted something actionable. I knew the therapeutic power of mindful writing, but in a transient jail setting, did it have legs? Could it propel hope and fortitude going forward? I felt trapped. The room spun and my throat went dry. Sweat sprang from my face and soaked my collar. The detainees were giving up on me and starting to talk amongst themselves. Then I heard a word somewhere within the chatter and spontaneously picked it out. Honor, I said out loud. The men looked at me curiously as I repeated the prompt. Honor, you have 5 minutes, begin. To my surprise, their heads dropped and their pencils raced across the page. I had no idea what to expect. Time's up. Who wants to read? I held my breath. A hand went up. Interestingly, the volunteer was a detainee who put forward the question I had been unable to answer. Without hesitation, he began to read. I honor all the people who had my back. My 2 best friends shot down for nothing. My brother, who don't think straight from getting hit in the head. My mother, for working 2 jobs to get us through only to have me disappoint her. My grandfather, who bought me football shoes that he couldn't afford. The homeless lady who slept in her car and gave me a ride to school every day. A cook at a fast food place who tried to get me off drugs. I honor all the victims who've been pushed down, come right back up and help you. Honor's all I got. The room fell silent, as if taking on the solemnity of a church. Then someone snapped their fingers, then another, snaps falling into a synchronous rhythm, breaking into claps. In listening to the reader's words, I became aware the man was helping me so that we could help each other. It was honor, yes, but not the flag saluting tributes. This was honor whose special context had eluded me, but now filled me with gratitude. This was honor from a point of view of incarcerated people and their inherent struggle. Honor, the quality of respectability, worthiness, a sense of hope and pride, and the ability to pick ourselves up, no matter how many times we've fallen, and carry on. The detainee who read cracked open the siloed bravado of jail habituation that gives no quarter to vulnerability. And now other detainees raised their hands, eager to read. With raw honesty and a sense of purpose, their fear, regret, loneliness, sadness, joy, and hope were laid bare for all to witness. Their words vibrated with the movement of life. They presented stories with amazing creativity, poetic rhythm, compassion, and remorse, and humor. The stories and reflections were palpable. They cut to the bone and opened the heart. The stories taught the writers and informed all of us who cared to listen. Here are some excerpts presented in the book. And as you see, the word at the top in this particular one is forgiveness, that's the prompt. And each prompt session in the book starts out with an illustration. The illustrations, as you see, are amazing. All these illustrations were provided by people who were either formerly in prison or are currently in prison. Trying to get an angle where I can read it. Actually, just, yeah, I can get it. Oh, okay, terrific. You hear me here? Okay. I own what I've done, and I don't expect the people I love to forgive me. I can't forgive me either. The only thing holding me together are my brothers in orange. They get where I'm at. That's all I've got right now. Prompt being family. The sadness and guilt of not being with my family is crushing me. I tell my kids not to worry. Mama, you'll be home soon. To make that happen, I got to stay sober and get my head straight. I'm working on it. Under the heading Prompt Mindful Writing, the yellow stubby pencil primes my desert brain, releasing dammed up tears that fall blat, blat, blat onto the lined paper, soaking me in long abandoned hope. So what does success look like from a standpoint of right to hope? Success is being positive and hopefully a hopeful engagement in post-release. And one of the things we've done in that regard is that we, in a sense, we condition the detainees to take up the opportunities that are out there. And we form partnerships of resources that can help the detainees upon reentry. And some of these services are housing, Others provide food, some mental health counseling, education, and job resources. And one of the things about the resources that we have partnered with, one of the first questions that the detainees will ask, well, what about backgrounds? We say, that's taken care of. They already know that you have a background. That's the biggest obstacle, someone coming in looking for a job, have to go through a background check. Well, here we have great employers out there that understand this particular segment of our population and are willing to take them in and train them. And some of the success stories have been amazing in that regard. So the results further, inevitably when we do the writing, being a good teacher is being a good listener. And when it boils down with almost the detainees, what comes up from a standpoint of hope and purpose is family. It's incredible. They'll talk about their mother, the support, or their children, or whatever, and the remorse from leaving those behind. But family is just inherently important. Early tracking of Right to Hope's participants have shown a reduction, 25% reduction in recidivism. That number, if you're not in the criminal system, what does that mean? That's a big number. That's very positive. So we ask the detainees to review us. We're always looking to be more present, more receptive. We collect these 3x5 cards, and without fail, it's 100% positive in terms of our engagement. And part of that is that, one, we always say, well, how do we know? Just the fact that we can provide a stress relief hour is positive. But the other very, very subtle thing is that most of these detainees have seldom, if ever, been acknowledged. So the fact that you can pick something out from their writing, and whether it's the way they've written it or the heartfelt aspect, and you can give them a positive comment about that, it's solid gold. It really, really is. And hopefully it's a step forward. Of course, Jim Lenfesty, this is on his nightstand at night, Bedard Jarkowski. But he's the author of Crime and Punishment. And he states in there clearly that society should be judged not by how it treats its outstanding citizens, but how it treats its criminals. So, and again, back to my opening step, the unseen in our marginalized people in our community, they are in our community. We all are interconnected in that regard. So, what I'd like to do is engage you in a quick Right to Hope prompt writing session. So, Dorno, raise your hand. So here's it is. I'm going to give you a prompt. We're going to write for 3 minutes. And we have pens and pencils. So if you want to pass on it, feel free to do. But we'll get some pens to follow here. Yeah, we've got pens. Okay, so again, as we do with the detainees, let's take a deep breath just to be present and relax. So, and again, let the writing do the writing. We all get involved with the self-editor. Forget that guy. Keep the pen moving. Don't hurry. It's not about the number of words. Grammar, spelling, this is for me. It doesn't matter. So the only person who has to read it is you. So let's just put at the top of your page, I'm from. Now you can go anywhere with that. You can talk about your neighborhood, you can talk about your ancestors, you can talk about your mental state, you can talk about where the world should be going, whatever comes to mind, that's your starter prompt. Let's begin. Okay, about 30 seconds. Okay, time's up. Who would like to read? Don't make me call on you. Okay. Back there. I don't think so.
I'm from a white family in South Minneapolis, 4 kids, good neighborhood, good schools, Mom stayed home while we grew up, then went back to school and got a teaching job. Dad worked in insurance and banking, but his greater love was his community and church and family. He served on the school board and in the legislature. Mom loved to read to us.
Thank you.
I'm from a family of believers. My father found his dormant beliefs during World War II as he was a POW and being transported via train to a stalag. While on the train, the U.S. Air Force strafed the cattle cars with live fire. Many died, and it was said that everyone was in prayer with their Maker.
Thank you. Powerful.
I'm from a small rural Iowa town, still holds my heart and thoughts. Wonderful childhood and growing up. People knew me, cared about me. I remember so many by name, still after 75 years. It's still a really special place that centers me.
I'm from a rural farming and logging town in northern Wisconsin with Swedish cultural roots, but outside of the Midwest or Scandinavia, it's probably more important to say that I'm from an economically healthy and balanced part of the world for my time in life. My family was neither exactly middle class nor poor, but globally very well off. So.
Thank you. We take one more here.
I'm from Deep Pier, Wisconsin, a river town near Green Bay that in the 40s and 50s made me an environmentalist. A river so polluted we were forbidden to touch it. 15 paper mills in 30 miles. The air is so full of coal smoke from the paper mills and power plants that our eyes were filled with cinders. So when I got a job at River Falls in 1968 and laid my eyes on the St. Croix River, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. I saw people boating and sailing and swimming, and I became an environmentalist that day and never looked back.
So, thank you for that, opening up and sharing. This is actually a good party trick you can take with your to people. You will learn more about someone in that 3 minutes than it maybe 10 years. So you focused in on it. So it's amazing. And so, like you say, sometimes it's a good party trick is to get something like going. But you can see how it can work in almost any environment, and in particularly in a distressed environment like we're involved with. So I'm happy to take some questions here. I do want to point out that we're a not-for-profit organization, and any assistance and donations that you would like to offer now or at some later time, we'd be greatly appreciative of that. And we also have these little pins that we're wearing. If you make a little donation, we'll give you one of these little pins. But I brought some books today, and I'm offering those books to you for free. So if you want to take one, feel free to do that. And we have a mailing list you can sign up for. And I know we're just about out of time. Do you have time for any questions or no? Or we're good?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm hoping people will stay around. I'll just say briefly, next Sunday our speaker is going to be Sharon Abel. She's an executive director of Groveland Food Shelf, which we all know about. And we're going to hear about the dramatic increase in the need
about the actions to meet those needs and the hopes and the plans for the future. So please come back and see us next week. But in the meantime, I just want to highlight, well, we're going to thank you, but then also do pick up a book. I've had it for some time. I continue to look at it. I told you at the very beginning you're going to leave this today with a smile because it's positive. What you're going to read in this book just lifts your spirit every time. You can turn anywhere in it. It's inspirational. And Dennis, your presentation has been inspirational. Let's thank Dennis. Yay.
Okay, all right, thank you. Yes, if you could, please. That's, you know, yes.
There must be a dozen or more languages spoken at any time in jail. Is that an issue, or what do you do with it?
Yes, it can be an issue. Most of the time, we have some come where English isn't their primary language. Oftentimes, there's someone else in the jail that can interpret for them, another detainee. We also have people who don't read or write, and we just have them to verbalize their thoughts related to the prompts. So,
They're pretty flexible.
yeah. Thank you. Okay, we'll be over here. Should you want more information?
Yeah.